Really, this guy's Times Person of the Year, Zelensky, Mister. I need the more money. You must send me more money so I can give it to my parents. And so I just need more money. Like, how could anytime you just hear him say the word, you know that he's a crook. He's probably not a really nice, but somehow he's made time. I guess he's a good enough actor. You know what I mean? So, ever since the last show, I had mentioned something about photography in Afghanistan. So, I found that there are people in Afghanistan, journalists who are taking pictures, who are being journalists, and they are posting their pictures. So, I figured I'd do in my little scroll type fashion, show you a video of what these photos actually are, because I had come across what were obviously stock footage, fakes in a preview. It was interesting to see, but also at the same time looking over it, really gruesome. That was one of our longest wars, or our longest war, and this is what we have to show for it. This is it. Look, that's them in almost like they look like us, like what we used to. That's Taliban. Those are Taliban uniforms. Ain't that nuts? This is crazy. So this is the documents that the FBI left sprawled out across Trump's Mar-a-Lago home, and it's going to fit the theme of what I have here. Is a staged, everything's staged. They came out and did that purposely to make it look like everything was all over the place, and that was all in sensationalism. Did anything really come of that? I don't really remember if they let us know what happened there. But anyway, this next photo is of Joe Biden, and look at his face. It says that he's talking about Social Security somewhere and drug prescriptions. So I assuming they put things in the background, the stars, to blank out who else was there. But why is his face not, clear? It just seems really odd that this would be a Reuters photo of the year. It's like, it's terrible. It's not even decently presentable. Same thing with this next one. This is also part of their 100 best photos. You call that a good photo? There's something in his face, and it's blue, and I'm not even sure that's Joe Biden. His cheeks are really red, and there's something on his face that almost looks like something subliminal. Probably something that you shouldn't stare at for too long. But it's really strange to think that this is what they consider their top photos of 2022. It must have been a really low bar. They're just saying, like, look at that photo. This is a handful of the better photos that they have. That's Lake Powell being a little bit, almost dried up. It's still an interesting photo, though there was a theme that they were trying to permeate throughout all these photos of terrible, disastrous climate change and stuff like that. We all really know is that things happen on this planet. Nothing stays, sustained, in like one way. It's what the seasons are. And speaking of the seasons, yeah, volcanoes erupt, especially in Hawaii. I remember when one of the volcanoes was erupting. I was pretty young at the time, but I learned that it was pretty much, it happens all the time. It's kind of part of our planet. Our planet can be very turbulent and very dangerous and full of lava. So this next picture is also, I think it could also be slightly staged. You see this is a coyote paddling with his hands with a boat full of asylum seekers, is what we're calling them. And it makes me wonder who's taking this photo. Is somebody doing something about it? Is he in a boat? Is he on the shore? This seems like it could have been set up. Just, a sensationalist photo. There's just something about it. Here's another thing that this is a jet plane dumping a flame retardant on a fire. I'm not sure if this is one of the fires that they caused themselves, but I know California normally gets fires all the time. They did start fires, though. They had to. It was almost like there wasn't enough fires for that year, so they had to go out and start some, and then it got really out of hand because of the wind. But hey, they kept a lot of people employed. It's kind of what they do. Firemen need fires. Just like thieves need box or something, man. It almost seems like maybe the train or whatever it was dumping them, or literally doing that on purpose. If it was the thieves, then that place was bad. Like I don't know how else you would fix that other than like put armed security, or I don't know, a fence, a wall, something. This photo is also kind of sensationalist in that it. Oh yeah, there's another sensationalist. See, actually, I chose this picture too because if you were to make like a comic book strip, and you wanted to like illustrate what what Will Smith did to Chris Rock, this is how you would do it, with the action having already been done. And it's a really nice comic book like swing. I thought it was pretty neat. Definitely one of the cooler photos. This is the picture of the year portion. Definitely the longer part. And I do this just because it's easier for me to comment on some of these things without having to dash back and forth between doing, shots of me with a table with documents. But anyway, I can actually comment this way because, hey, look at that. These are chromatics. That's like pottery. They're saying that it's going to be a revolution, but I don't know about using that for toilet paper or something. I don't know. They're saying something about it being used for good, but you never know. This is a good picture. See, these, I think this is National Geographic. They're doing way better shots than Reuters, that's for sure. Believe me, I spared y'all just the painfully bad photos from this Reuters collection. See, at least National Geographic knows what to do. They have cool ancient Egyptian stuff, underwater boats. That's a good photo. See, you see all the fish and the plankton and all that stuff. That's good stuff. And it's kind of scrolling by fast, but if you want to read it, you could go to nationalgeographic.com or wherever else, and you can probably read some of these things. But since most people don't want to read anyway, I'm just going to keep scrolling. Scrolling is pretty easy to follow because everybody scrolls, right? That is a good picture. That would be one worth having as a background photo for sure. That was an elf. Oh, this is an interesting. It was like some sort of tree, a spiral thing that you could just walk around and be at the treetops. That was interesting. This looks like some Sherpas or something out there. They had their little masks on. It was pretty cool. It was a good photo. That was a strange one. I don't really even. Looks like something out of Star Trek. That was a very interesting. They were talking about making fuel from thin air, harvesting something like Tesla would do. Interesting how that's coming back to it. Magical mission in the sky. That's what's going to be going on. Is SpaceX is cruising around up there. He knows. It would probably been an interesting article, but I had to keep going. I thought the picture was pretty cool enough that they did a good job. Some refugees. Of course, they had to put some photos. See, that's a good one. Oh yeah, that was I just stopped on that one because I was like, yeah. Just look at it and just keep going ahead. Yeah, there you go. Surging ahead. That almost looks like an illustration. That was cool. I thought the Pete Townsend bass, so you just made it all. Yeah. Dun, dun, dun. That's pretty Townsend bats. That was an interesting one too. It looked like something they use for films, a stuffed animal or something. It's the reindeer. It's easier for me to do it this way because that way I can at least cite my sources via the actual articles themselves, citing the source for me. Yeah, that's cool. See, both Reuters and National Geographic News to include that. That's what the mouse study or the rat study. Growing a crystal temple. I know maybe Jim Morrison might have had something to say about that one. That's pretty cool. Could you imagine getting impaled by one of those if it fell down? Bug collectors. It's a good photo. I thought it was all right. They did way better than Reuters, that's for sure. Even though some of them I think are slightly more throwaway than others. A couple of these, that one was interesting. He's got his little pigeon friend. It looks like they got a really good picture of that. They are both pilgrims. I can't really even explain what this is. This is like just something out of a movie, is out of antiquity. The man with the goat and the beard in the river. Something's gonna go down. That was a cool picture. I almost thought that it wasn't real at first, but you never know. That was kind of a strange one. Ice nursing Amazonia. The cost of coyotes. Oh man, yeah. Some of these were kind of brutal, but it's from National Geographic. It's the first black dude on top of Everest. It definitely doesn't look like he's able to stand, so that makes me wonder if these are not too deadly to stand up. Moving on, sailing towards answers. That was kind of interesting. That was a good picture. Somebody should have gotten a medal for that one. That's it. So I'm going to go back to the Reuters now. This Reuters picture makes me wonder because this is pretty much what they were doing about making it 80% or 800% more deadly. This is an illustration of them doing that. And that's what they're making it like from now on. This is what we got to get used to, is them having some sort of germ that they're going to release on us out of their revenge or their will, whenever they feel that they need to thin us out or something. I don't know. It's really disturbing. Keeping with that, here is the not so fast electric cars. This was an interesting article because it went on to say that the people who make vehicles and electric cars do not see a future in it, and they're saying it's not going to work. They're already saying that you're going to have to pull the plug. But I guess that's 2022 in a nutshell. Nutsy.